Why do we need main ideas? What are some of the reasons we would even want to be thinking about a main idea? Yeah?
Because if we were thinking about main ideas, then we wouldn't get people might think that we really didn't go there and might make them up.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. The first story that I told you where I didn't mention the monkeys, how did you feel about that story? How did you feel about that story? Give me a thumbs up if you thought it was perfectly easy to understand. Some sideways if it was so-so. A thumbs down if you were like, felt we are missing some information here. Oh, I'm seeing a lot of thumbs down. I'm seeing a lot of thumbs down. Did I give you the main idea in the first story I told? So if you don't have a main idea, you're missing information, aren't you? So why do we need main ideas? Yes?
You need main ideas to keep the reader interested, or you focus on one thing in the story, and that's what the whole story is about.
Okay, so we need a main idea to focus on something, right? You said focus on one thing. Just going to say focus on something. Okay? It's a focus for us. All right? And I also heard you say that a focus keeps the reader interested. Okay? That's quite true. Yes?
So you want to end details so everybody, when you're reading it, don't say boring.
We do need details. Are we talking about details right now? Hang on to that though, because we are going to be talking about details. That's what's going to be holding up our house here. Okay? So focus on something. We might figure out what the main idea is through those details. But why do we even need a main idea? Why do I need it? Why can't I just say, I went on a trip to a mountain and they were cute. And I gave them some food and it was so much fun, you wouldn't believe it. Why can't I just say that? Why do I have to put anything in there about a main idea? Yeah?
We wouldn't know what you were talking about.
So you didn't know what I was talking about. So what do main ideas do?
They help you know what the person is talking about.
Okay, so they help us to know what the story is about. Very good. Help us to know what, and I was talking, so what I was talking about, but let's say what the story, because as readers, when we read, we've got to be asking ourselves, what is the story about? Right? Why am I reading this? What is it talking about? Let's know what the story is talking about. Okay, very good. Any other reasons you can think of that we might need a main idea? Yes?
To help us check for understanding.
Okay, so let's say you said to help us check for understanding. Would you mind if I just said help us to understand the story? Because you're right. And that's right up there on our chart, isn't it? Help us to understand. Right there, I understand what I read. Okay, so that having a main idea supports our strategies, right? And our strategies, using our strategies, help us figure out what the main idea is. Okay, so help us to understand, let's say, the story. Now, was my story a true story or a not true story? Was it fiction or nonfiction? Give me a thumbs up if you think it was. Give me a thumbs up if you think it was fiction. A thumbs down if you think it was nonfiction. Okay, good. You got it right, most of you. It was nonfiction. Okay, because it was true. It was a true story. So, but sometimes the way we figure out main idea in nonfiction and fiction might be a little bit different. Okay. But we're not going to worry about that right now. I just want you to know that we are working with, what did we say, fiction or nonfiction? Tell me.
Nonfiction.
Nonfiction. Okay, so these are main ideas in nonfiction. Okay? Because how about your research? Is your research fiction or nonfiction? Tell me. It's nonfiction. It better be nonfiction. I don't want you using some fiction work, something that's not real to do your research. Then it's a made-up story. Okay? So we've got to make sure we're doing nonfiction. So we're talking about finding main ideas in nonfiction. All right? Any questions? Just turn it off.
Oh.
So after I say any questions.